I've got my wife's credit card and I've got a new use for it. Hello and welcome to my series of videos on how to set up a 12-string guitar. This is video 3. If you're interested in looking at the first 2 videos, which is how the first video was how to tune and check the action on a guitar, the video 2 was about trying to adjust the truss rod, and this video is about the cleaning process of the guitar and then restringing. So if you want to have a look at the other videos, they're in the links below. Right, let's get started. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut off the strings. Now the reason we cut off the strings is it's quicker, and it just speeds up the whole process of a restring. What's happened when we've cut the strings off is that we've noticed that the nut is broken. So we're gonna see if we can replace that. I'll finish taking all the strings off first and then we'll have a look at the nut. So the way that we remove strings from where the pins are is with a pair of pliers. I'm just going to put something on the back of the guitar to protect the guitar, and what we want to do is when we take the string out, we want to put the same pin back in the same hole. The reason for that is that wood swells over time, and if we start to get them mixed up, some may not fit as well. So here we are, and what's happened when we took the strings off, as happens quite often with guitars, the nut here is actually split in two. It's also not in the best of condition because there are some of the bits of its plastic have broken over time. There's 2 things we could do. We could try and repair it, but actually it'd be really nice if we got a replacement nut, the one that fits, then we'll try and actually replace it. So here we are. I think I've found a replacement nut. It certainly is the same size. I'm just going to put it up against the old nut. Yeah, that looks like a perfect fit. What we do now is I need to knock out the other half of the old nut. Now these are usually glued in, and this one's pretty solid, so we need to actually just knock that out. And to do this we need any old block of wood really. So what we're going to do is I'm going to position this behind the nut, and then with just something with a bit of weight to it, just give it a quick tap, and that should, yep. So there's our piece. So it's left a little bit of the residue, which I'm now going to just clean out, and then we'll glue in the new nut. Right, that's now ready to go. We just use a little bit of wood glue. I'm not going to do it now because when I come to restring it, the pressure of the strings sitting over the nut will help keep it in place. So we'll come back to that bit. So now what we're going to do is, when we look here, this guitar's pretty worn, but it's been well used and well loved. And although there are some dents in the fingerboard and the frets, some of this stuff on the top is just muck really, grease. So we're going to gently scrape some of that away. I'm going to do that with a piece of plastic, in this case my wife's credit card, just so that we're not damaging the wood, but we're getting rid of the gunge that's built up. So there's the first chunk of it. So now that we've cleaned off most of the really heavy gunk from the fretboard with my wife's credit card, what we're going to do now is we're going to scrape the fretboard, and you can use a razor blade for this. I've got a little flat-ended blade here. Now this doesn't want to be very heavy, it wants to be very, very light. We do not want to dig into the fretboard. We just want to gently run over the fretboard to get some of the rubbish that the credit card didn't pick up. So very gently scraping it over the fretboard. Now on this particular guitar there is more gunk right at the edge of the fret. So I'm not really putting any pressure on, I'm just running the blade gently over the fret. Now on this guitar, it's these first 4 or 5 frets where most of the rubbish is. You can feel where there's less dirt. Now that we've got most of the dirt and gunk off the fretboard, what we're going to do is we're going to use a small amount of wire wool to just go over the whole fretboard. So let's just zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole fretboard, and just very gently running over each fret. Not too much pressure, well in fact no pressure really, just gently, and just run over the actual frets as well, just gently. Now when we get to this part here, sometimes it's quite useful to put some tape around. Now this part of the guitar has probably never been played up here, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some protection round while I just gently do them to the one at the end, so we're not going anywhere near the actual finish of the guitar. There we go. Now dust off all of the bits. Make sure that all the bits are gone. It's a lot better. I mean, ideally, if this was my guitar, I'd probably be spending. You could spend another 4 hours cleaning some of the most ingrained dirt around here, but I think that's the best we can do with the time we've got allowed. So fretboard is now cleaned, and we are now going to treat it, and the way that we treat it is with lemon oil. And we don't need very much of this. A small dab on a clean cloth, perfect use for an old sock that's clean. When they get holes in them, they become really good guitar maintenance cloths. So what we do with this is there's a little dabber on the actual thing, and I like to put a dab on each fret. Okay, some people put a dab on every other fret, but I've always preferred to just do each fret and then we rub it in. do the last few frets. There we go. And what lemon oil does is it helps, it treats the wood, it preserves the grain, and just oils the fretboard. Well, that looks great. So there we are, lemon oily fretboard. So we're now moving to the back of the guitar. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clean the bridge and the saddle. I need to take out the pins. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to store the pins in an order that I know I can put them back in. Those are the inside pins there. Then what we'll do with the other ones is we'll put them in there, so we know where each pin is. Now these pins, they're pretty grotty actually, so we're going to give them a wash, but we'll focus on the actual tail piece first. And what we're going to use here is we're going to use a guitar polish and cleaner, and again, clean cloth, where another clean cloth, spray a little bit on to there, and then go over it and give it a good clean. I'm trying to get in to clean the bits either side of the saddle, so we'll just give the rest of the, using a different bit, using a different part of the cloth, I'm just going to go over the surface of the guitar. And we'll do the back and sides once everything's been restrung. Right, so here we are, going to clean all of the pins. Now really, we're only bothered about the head because that's the only bit we're going to see, and they are covered in dirt, they're pretty old, but they can look pretty good with just a bit of a wash. And we're just letting them dry. I'm putting each one back in the same position it was, so we know exactly which pin is going to go in which hole on the guitar. So thanks very much for watching. If you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button, and a thumbs up is always much appreciated. And if you want to be notified when the next video goes live, ding that little bell. See you in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye bye. What is happening with my hair?